Hello, this is Mark from I Am Organic Gardening, located in Zone 6B in the state of New Jersey, on this gorgeous spring day. And welcome to How to Start a Garden with Perennial Roots. And yes, flower bulbs are considered a perennial root to help grow and build soil. And this is also part 9 of the soil series, How to Grow Nutrient-Dense Fruits and Vegetables. So I'm back out in the garden again. So this is my new test area. It's the same size as the other one that I used a cover crop seed in part 8. Now with this one I'm going to use something different. I'm going to use a living root, a living plant root or a perennial root to help grow soil instead of using seeds. So here's a good example. I'm going to use these strawberry plants. There's 25 in this bundle here. And I'm going to use them as a perennial living root in the ground. That's going to be established from now and over winter and the following year. And this is going to help grow my soil using that fungi, that mycorrhizal fungi in the soil, to help that grow and stay established all year long. Now this is one of the examples I'll be planting up. The other ones I'm going to be using is Comfrey, lavender, and also daylily roots. But first, a little update on my cover crop that I planted about a week and a half ago. This is New Zealand white clover. And you can see how nice it has germinated and it's filling in slowly. Again, it's only about a week and a half old, but it will grow to about 5 or 6 inches tall and fill and cover all that soil up. And the sugar snappies are coming up very nicely also. And my apple tree is starting to bloom. This is a 4 variety apple tree. So there's 4 stems and each stem is a different variety of apple. And the variety that's blooming right now is called Dorset Golden Apple. And I'm looking forward to the other 3 blooming also too in the next month. So I'm going to use a little bit of electric power and drive out about 500 feet and dig up some comfrey roots to also plant in the garden right now. So here's my comfrey plant. Now what's interesting about this, you can see a nice ring around the whole plant that nothing is growing next to it. That's from just because of the older leaves that have fallen off or died back over winter that created a mulch, and now the mulch is pretty much gone. But you can see how it's kind of protecting itself in its own little area. It's not going to hurt tomato plants I'm going to be planting next to it. I've planted squash directly next to these plants too, and they're perfectly fine. So let's harvest this plant. This plant's about 2.5 years old. So I just dug a nice ring around it, and now we're going to pop it out of the soil. Not too bad. It was quite heavy, but I got it in there. Now I can divide this up into smaller pieces and plant it in my new garden area that I need perennial roots in. Now here's a good picture showing all the things I'll be planting up. We have our strawberries, my lavender. This is a daylily that's growing. That's a miniature variety called Stella Diora. And in the back we have our comfrey. I have a total of 3 cattle panels in this row, and each are 16 feet long. But the one that you're seeing in front of you, which is 16 feet long, I'm going to plant that up, and I'm going to plant the other ones the same exact way. So I just cut the comfrey plant up in 4 sections, just using a shovel and cutting down deep into it. Now I'm going to plant up each one of these about, let's say, a foot away from the cattle panels. Now here's the first hole I dug. It's the same level as the plants that were growing at, established in the other spot. But what's nice about this too, I'm also bringing in mycorrhizal fungi from the other garden into this garden in that clump, because I'm not breaking up the whole clump too much, and there's living mycorrhizal fungi in that perennial. I'm going to separate these daylily roots into smaller ones and plant them up in the same line as the comfrey. These are a lot easier to do because they're smaller roots, and you just peel them apart. Get your thumb in there, just take off a section like so, and you're all set to go. And our last plant is going to be lavender. It creates the little blue-purple flowers, and the bees love it. Now, just like in the other test area, I planted some sugar snap peas along the trellis, and that is just for food, but also will give a living root in the ground until those perennials take over. And you can see that they're going to do very nicely. They're about 1 inch deep and about 3 inches wide in the trench. We're all set to go, and I'll cover them up, and then I'll give you a view of the whole thing I planted. I just finished up the first area that I'm going to be using perennial roots in. I kept them off the cattle panel about 1.5 feet away so they can grow. And then again, we have our sugar snap peas planted along the cattle panel, about 1 inch deep. And then we start with our first plant, which is our comfrey, followed by 2 daylilies, then another comfrey plant, then 2 daylilies, and another comfrey plant, and 2 daylilies, and a comfrey plant. And down in the middle here, we have our lavender plant, which is about right there in the middle, so that can attract our beneficial insects. I have a row of strawberry plants that I planted up about a week ago in a straight line that goes right down, and that's about another 1.5 feet away from the other plants that I planted to the left-hand side here. And my last row of strawberries are going to go right where the 2x4s are, and that's about 2 feet away from the other row of strawberries, and that's going to give me plenty of room. So in the future, I'm going to be planting up some pepper plants in here that are going to grow tall, and then space them accordingly so I don't shade out the strawberries behind it. And then I have some blank room to plant anything else again too. And then along the trellis here, I'm going to be planting my tomato plants. And this is all living perennial roots in the ground. Now, all this bare soil will grow things that you don't want in your garden. So you can come back in and put leaf mold down or paper or anything else you want to control that. But what's nice about this is that you have all these little islands growing soil with mycorrhizal fungi in the soil and helping that soil food web. So anything that you transplant or divide up or buy at the nursery, any type of perennial that you can use off the list, and I'll put a link to it, it's the Mycorrhizal List, because all of this uses endomycorrhizal fungi, and that's also adaptable to, or can also aid in helping like the pepper plants growing and also the tomato plants and other things in your garden. So go off the list when you're deciding what to plant. You don't have to plant these particular things. I just happen to have them on my farm, trying to save a little bit of money, and they should work out just fine. But what most important is that when you do transplanting things and the leaves die back a little bit, that's okay. They might go into shock for a little bit because you disturb the roots, but eventually in the long run, those perennial roots will come back and start growing new foliage for you. I want to thank you so very much for watching today's video. If you can, please share it. And also, if you enjoyed the video, please like it too. And again, I will see you shortly with another exciting video. And I thank you so very much once again for watching this video. Enjoy, and enjoy gardening.